So this is industrial mechanics workplace safety. Hopefully, by the time we get done, we'll be able to explain workplace safety, describe the basic first aid procedures used in a workplace. Hint, they're the same as any place else. Explain the general safety rules that should be enforced in a workplace. List different types of PPE, define confined spaces, and explain the purposes of fall arrest system. Hint, fall arrest system is designed to arrest a fall. Most common types of hazards found in industrial environments include electrical, chemical, mechanical, fall, and confined space. Electrical is one that a lot of people don't really think about because we've had electricity as a thing in our lives for our entire lives, and except for the occasional electrical fire that you hear about on the news, you know, it's usually pretty safe, right? But when you get into an industrial environment, the voltages start going up. Instead of doing a regular 110 volt or 220 volt like we have in our house, you start jumping up into 480 volt and then 600 volt and then 1320 and 4000, and you know, depending upon what you're doing, the voltages can go really, really high. And I've been in two places in my life where you could feel the electricity in the air. I mean, as soon as you walk in a place, the hair on your head stand up, and you know, you just get the willies. And it's like, okay, this is weird. And they come to find out it was a really high voltage environment. So, chemical, you know, there's a lot of chemicals around. All of them are man-made. They're supposed to be there to help us, but sometimes they can burn you really bad. They can cause cancer, all kinds of horrible things that you can do with, or can happen with chemicals. Mechanical, that's probably what most of us are familiar with. You got your car's a mechanical device, your washing machine, dishwasher, vacuum sweeper, and all that stuff. Fall, OSHA says that if, as a general rule, if you are more than 4 feet off the ground, you have to have a fall arrestor. Well, if you're more than 4 feet above a lower level. So if I'm standing on this table, it's not 4 feet tall, I don't have to have fall arrestor. But if it were 4 feet tall, I'd have to tie myself off to the ceiling. Okay. That is general industry. There are exceptions to that where if you're on a scaffold, you have to be at least 10 feet off the ground before you have to have fall arrestor. Understand what the difference is between 4 feet and 10 feet. You're still gonna fall and break your arm or whatever. Land on your head to kill yourself. And then confined space. If you guys can possibly avoid it, don't ever volunteer to go into a confined space. You know, for girls, it's not too bad. For guys, the harness that they put on you, yeah, it is not at all comfortable. Probably don't want to put on harness for the fall arrestor either. Proper lifting techniques requires you to use your legs make sure that you bend at the knees, grasp whatever it is, and then stand straight up, keep it as close to your body as possible so you don't knock yourself off balance. And the old PowerPoint, it shows, I think, Homer Simpson bending over trying to pick up something, and it's creative. So when possible, forklifts should be used to move heavy loads and objects. You guys have any idea how many different types of forklifts there are? Well, but let's go over it. What do you think of whenever you think forklift?
Warehouse.
I would be thinking something to lift heavy pallets.
I was thinking more in terms of the general shape of it.
2 forks and gate.
Vehicle with a cage on it,
Yeah.
the fork sticking out, rat go up and down, all that.
Well, there doesn't have to be a floor. There's sitting and standing and I think a couple others, but
Yeah, big weight in the back. Most of the time.
Counterbalance.
honestly, I've seen ones without the gate gouge at all, and then you stand here. There's a motor, and it just kind of lifts it up, and you go. Kind of like a forklift or a pallet jack.
That's either a walkie or a ride-on.
Right on. I think that's what I was told. Right on.
Because they have both. They've also got the ones that have got the big boom. You normally see the big booms with the basket on the end. Well, they got them with the forks on the end too, so you can do that. You got the stand-up, the ones that actually the forks go in and out as well as up and down and all the tilting and stuff. Those are called reach trucks. So there's lots of different forklifts out there. That is actually a reach truck right there. PPE includes safety glasses, hard hats, leather gloves, steel toe work boots. A lot of them nowadays, instead of being steel toe, are composite toe. Those are arguably better than steel toe. My own personal argument, but they all have to pass the safety tests to be allowed to be sold. Earplugs, ear muffs, welding helmets, fire-resistant clothing, and dust mask. You also have arc flash suit, arc blast suit. Those are probably two of the most important things that you can have whenever you're working around electricity, because I don't know if you've ever seen the results of an arc flash or an arc blast. It is really, really gnarly. Another one of our customers, place I worked at before I came down here, was Olin Brass. They did the brass cartridges for Remington. And they had a panel. Room was, I don't know, maybe from that wall out to the wall out there in the hallway, so maybe about that far. And the cleaning crew decided that they were going to come in and do a full wash down, and the door was standing open on that panel. So they hosed it down, and it went boom. Blew the door all the way across the room, and it hit the wall hard enough to knock a hole in it. Yeah. And then we got paid to go and redo the panel. So, yay me. PPE safety glasses with side shields, face shields, and goggles can protect your eyes from flying fragments, chips, hot sparks, optical radiation, splashes of molten metal, particles, sand, dirt, mist, dust, and glare. When we're out in the high bay, we will at a minimum have to have safety glasses on. If your eyeglasses are ANSI rated, then you'll need sight shields or goggles. A lot of people also like to wear a face shield because the face shield is typically long enough to come down and also cover your neck. Thanks. The goggles have got air vents on the sides so they don't fog up. It helps, but they do sometimes still fog up. We do have cleaning wipes somewhere that have got the anti-fog stuff on them. So if you need goggles, we can track those down and keep it fogging up on you. Hard hat or protective helmet provides head protection. Two different types. You got the regular cap, and then you got the one that's only good for stuff falling down on top of you. The one with the full brim on it will protect top and sides. This strap snaps inside the shell, and there's an air gap in there. So if something hits you on the head, instead of, the cap being sitting directly on your head, so you may as well not even have it, like wearing a baseball cap, right? There's a bit of a cushion, so, get your attention, maybe, give you a shock in the neck, impact type shock, not an electrical shock. But you probably walk away without a new hole in your head, which, most of us probably don't need any more holes in our head. Two different types. Type 1 is impacts from the top. Type 2 is top and side. And then the class, that's the most important part. Your G class is general service, limited voltage protection. That limit is 1,000 volts. Have the class E, which is utility service, high voltage protection. That voltage is 10,000 volts. And then C is special service, no protection at all. That's either a bump cap or many of the class C hard hats are actually made out of metal, which, most metals are really good conductors of electricity. So that's why they say there's zero electrical protection for those. Noise levels. Things you got to watch out for is how long can you be exposed to a noise at that level and not sustain hearing damage. Okay. You can tell the louder it gets, the shorter the time period is. Those are hours, by the way. 90 decibels, 8 hours, 92, 6 hours, and so on. You get up to that 130 decibel level, the jet engine on the ground, 130 decibels is enough to rupture your eardrums. It's pretty much instantaneous death. Over 80% of disabling job-related injuries are caused by pinch points. So, in between gears, pulley and belt, chain and sprocket, to moving surfaces, like a scissor type motion, that kind of thing. The rollers is in there. Well, it's technically not a pinch point. if you can get your hand caught in like the clamp on the brake press or the shear, that falls in that same category. That, by the way, is one of the review questions. So. When engineering controls are not feasible, technician must use appropriate respirators to protect against adverse health effects caused by breathing air contaminated with harmful dust, fog, fumes, mist, gas, smoke, spray, or vapor. Okay, so your regular old dust mask. Think back to COVID, everybody had their N95 masks on, right? Those are, a lot of people, you still see them running around wearing those. It's like the mask does not protect you from other contaminants. It catches the stuff that you're spewing out so you don't infect others. And I say you still see people running around with masks on, and I've even seen a couple of people driving around in their car by themselves with the windows up and a mask on. Which I don't know if that is because they have some sort of a dust allergy or, you know, what the deal is, but it just strikes me as odd. Reusable half mask respirator, that's the one that only covers your mouth and your nose. The full face actually covers your entire face. If you have a beard, you cannot use a respirator because it will not seal properly on your face. I actually worked with a guy that didn't like, we had a filter press where it filtered out the particulates from zinc die casting secondary operations where we burnished the parts and whatnot. And he didn't like to clean that thing, so that's the only reason why he grew a beard. I don't necessarily need or want a beard, but if I have a beard, I can't wear the respirator. If I can't wear the respirator, I can't clean the filter press because we use hydrochloric acid. So, sorry, I can't do that. So guess who got stuck with it? Of course, this is the same dude that, I mean, literally, he shaved and got a haircut once a year for Christmas. When I first started working there, it was like November, right? So he's pretty shaggy and full beard and everything. And was there for a couple of weeks. Went to the Christmas party, and I saw him there, but I did not recognize him. Well, that kind of looks like Dave. Can't be. No, that really sounds like Dave. Gotta be Dave. Come find out it was. Dude, you got a haircut. He says, yeah, I do that once a year for Christmas. And he was dead serious. I worked with him for 5 years. He got 5 haircuts. Airline respirator, that's the full hood, or it has a separate air supply. SCBA, you guys know what the difference is between SCBA and scuba? Underwater. It is basically the same exact thing, only the SCBA is full face mask and scuba is just the deal that you put in your mouth. Well, you can do the full face underwater too, but you won't have SCBA with just the thing you put in your mouth. It's always full face. It was SCBA.
So they do have some that are, I can't remember what they actually call it, but it technically is a form of SCBA that it's just basically the mouthpiece. It won't be a full face. It's for like emergency underground use and stuff.
Okay. Those will be very rare.
They're mostly an oh shit thing.
Emergency escape breathing apparatus, EEBA. Oh shit. Okay, the color of the cartridges and or the containers tell you what the cartridge or canister is good for. White is acidic gases only, black is organic vapors only, green is ammonia gas only, yellow is acid gases and organic vapors, purple is radioactive except for tritium and noble gases, orange is dust, fumes, and mists other than radioactive, and olive is other. Oxygen deficient air can result in injury or death. Yep, we are designed to, live in an oxygen environment. It is possible to have too much oxygen in your environment too. You ever heard the term hyperventilate? Yeah, oxygen is required for your body to metabolize and blah, 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 but if you have too much of it, you can actually get oxygen poisoning. So, 19.5% is the minimum permissible oxygen level. 16 to 19.5, you get a decreased ability to work strenuously. 12 to 14, respiration, exertion, and pulse increase. You get impaired coordination, perception, and judgment. Your oxygen level starts getting that low, you really do some stupid shit. 10 to 11, respiration further increases, rate and depth. So when your lips start turning blue, 8 to 9, mental failure, fainting, unconsciousness. 6 to 7, for 8 minutes is 100% fatal. And then 4 to 5, get lapse into coma within 40 seconds. Convulsions, respiration totally ceases, and you die. Explosive range, that's what is known as stoichiometry. You have LEL and UEL. LEL is the lower explosive limit. That is the minimum concentration of whatever the explosive gas is that will support combustion. And you have the UEL, which is the upper explosive limit. Anything above that is too rich to burn. Okay? So that band there in the middle is what you worry about. The gas detectors that are in buildings where this is a thing are typically set to 10% of this line. So when that alarm goes off, you've got ample time to get out before shit actually blows up. Confined space must be tested for oxygen level and air contaminants before entering. You guys ever heard the term Draeger? No? Okay. Draeger is probably the most popular and most well-known gas air sampling brand of equipment. They have detectors to find, detect all kinds of things: oxygen, isopropyl alcohol, hydrogen sulfide. The list just goes on and on and on and on and on. Permit required confined space is any confined space that has specific health and safety hazards capable of causing death and or serious physical harm. And an entry permit must be posted at confined space entrances or otherwise made available to entrants before entering a permit required confined space. If it is a permit required confined space, you will find that entry permit posted at every entrance. OSHA says so. Okay. Fall arrest systems have anchor points. Notice they had a girl model this. You can see if this thing, you've got this strapped on and you fall, can you imagine what it's going to do to your manhood? Quick, fast, and in a hurry. But I guess it's better than dying. Or, breaking your neck and be paralyzed for the rest of your life, whatever. Yeah, it is no fun even putting the thing on because you've got kind of readjusting and yeah. This shock absorbing lanyard, those are stitched in such a way that if you fall, the stitches break at a known rate. So it decelerates you before you hit the end of the line and you get, that jerk up. The self-retractors, those have usually got a centrifugal brake in them. So, as long as you're pulling it slowly, it'll just spin right out and self-retract with spring loaded. And then much like your safety belt in your car, if you try and jerk on it, it locks up. We always determine the estimated fall distance when selecting the proper personal fall arrest system. You have the length of your lanyard, maximum deceleration distance, how tall you are, and then a safety factor. Okay. The last place that I worked before coming to Ozarks Tech was Custom Powder Systems. They're out by the airport on Willard Road, across the street from C&H Reman. And we had a lanyard that we had to wear on the Skyjack. Now, the HR lady said that you had to wear it anytime you got on the Skyjack. It was a 6-foot lanyard. So unless you were all the way up touching the ceiling in that building, it was too long. You were going to hit the floor anyway. But she insisted that you had to wear it. Safety nets made out of rope or webbing for catching and protecting a falling technician or falling debris. The maximum opening on the holes in the net is 6 inches by 6 inches, which is good enough for catching a person, but not necessarily falling debris. And then the higher you go, the wider the net has to be. Apparently, whenever you fall off the edge, instead of you falling straight down, you're going to fall like that, which I've never seen anybody do unless they're, yeah, OSHA says that the higher you are, the wider it's got to be. Okay. So we have made it to the review, and we still got a couple of minutes. Now, what are 2 main causes of injury in the workplace? Well, let's see, one of them. Yeah. According to National Labor, blah, 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 whatever it is, I can't remember off the top of my head. But they actually say that overexertion and slips, trips, and falls the top two now. And that book is not that old. So, what's first aid? Okay. First aid is the immediate temporary care given to a person who has been injured or suddenly taken ill. That's where you find aspirin and that kind of stuff in the first aid cabinet, as well as Band-Aids. What's a good Samaritan law? As you had to read the book to know what this is. What do you talk about it?
See something happening, you gotta take care of it. See something, say something.
Go ahead.
See something, say something. Or do something.
Okay.
I can't remember what the phrase is for that. Basically, you can't get in trouble if you're trying to save a life. As long as you're.
If Aiden falls and hurts himself, and Nick comes along and finds him and tries to help him up or whatever, and ends up hurting him worse, you should have just left him alone. If you hurt him worse, you cannot be held liable for the injury. Because you had, your intention was not to injure, but to assist.
Breaking a rib during CPR.
Do what?
Breaking a rib during CPR or something.
Yeah.
You can't sue them for that.
If you're not almost breaking somebody's ribs, you're not doing CPR, right? What's the most visible result of an injury? It's one of them.
Of an injury? Scalding? Like a burn or
Okay,
some kind of burn?
so discolored skin.
Like a rat, like you'd see a bubble of skin that's just not colored right in any form, black, red,
Okay.
white.
And what about blood that is not broken through the skin?
It'd be bruising.
Bruising. There are more.
Other than like broken limbs.
Yeah,
You know.
your arm's not supposed to do that.
Yeah, crooked.
Why is it supposed to be sticking out?
Dude, that looks like it hurts.
So that's the color of bones.
Yeah. What a lot of people don't think about is just limited range of motion. You fall down and hurt your shoulder and you can't raise it past there anymore. Of course, how often you walk around going, one would hope not a lot. What's wrong with that guy?
Unless you're special.
Yeah.
Trying to tell you that you're about to fall.
What are the causes of burns?
Electrical fire and
There's one more.
steam.
I'd say any hot
That's still thermal.
Just
What'd you say?
any hot liquid.
That's thermal.
Chemical.
friction.
That's thermal.
Yeah.
Transfer of heat.
So we've got thermal, chemical, Radiation, bingo. List of steps to follow when assisting a choking victim.
Are you okay?
That's part of it, but it's technically not one of the steps.
Slide on back.
How many times?
Is it 3?
Close. 5 times. And then abdominal thrust or Heimlich maneuver. Yeah. Unless, there's always a but, if the person is obese or pregnant, you don't do abdominal thrusts. You get right under the breastbone, and that's where you do the. Okay. What are 2 main causes of slips and falls in the workplace?
Trip hazard.
Spills. Spills.
Russian.
Don't run indoors.
Spills.
That would be environmental contaminants. Okay, so I'll tell you this real quick story. Hopefully you'll be able to figure out what the next one is. I was driving down the street one night, and there's this old boy. He's kind of doing the old,
Being impaired.
and he tripped over a crack in the sidewalk. Landed flat on his face, and his feet were still moving. He was so messed up, he thought he was still upright and walking. So, any ideas about it?
Influence.
No, the other part of that. No,
Drugs.
no,
Balance.
no. The crack in the sidewalk. It's what is known as surface irregularity. What causes a large percentage of eye injuries?
Bright lights.
Hmm?
Bright lights.
Not part of, not one of the things on the list.
Debris.
Flying debris.
Big one.
Good guess. How does the flying debris get to your eye?
Air.
What do you say, John?
Lack of PPE.
Improper or lack of PPE. What was most common work-related disease?
Cancer. Maybe some kind of respiratory disease.
Very good.
You're a lot closer.
I just heard it.
By prevalence, how much is hearing loss?
Right area, wrong thing.
And by the number of reported cases is musculoskeletal disorder, MSD. So physical injury. What type of PPE should be worn to prevent hearing damage?
Earplugs.
Earplugs and ear muffs.
Earmuffs.
And if it's noisy enough, wear both. Explain how a respirator is selected.
Depending on the environment you're fixing to be in.
Environment. Okay. That would be environment.
On the job, you perform it.
That would still be environment.
Whether you got a beard or not,
And make sure you have a beard.
makes you, but depict, I mean, count out your facial hair could depict on which type you would need.
I think
If you have facial hair, you can't wear one at all.
in general, it'd just be by the person, maybe.
What about it though?
Like
You're on the right track.
what grade would have to be for who?
No,
Whether or not you have breathing issues to begin with.
no. Would James use the same size that John does?
Fit.
How it fits. So that's very personal. You know, everybody's head shape and size is different. And then the cartridge or filter based on the hazard. Explain the difference between LEL and UEL.
Possibility of explosion.
The concentration in the air, LEL is the minimum needed to trigger an explosion. Upper explosive is basically the maximum.
Yeah, LEL is the least amount that will support combustion, and UEL is the maximum amount and still be able to support combustion. Where must a confined spaced entry permit be placed? All entrances. What is the minimum working height that requires the use of a personal fall arrest system in general industry?
3 feet.
4 feet. Define safety net.
Fall net. What area you work, what space, how you go wide.
It's a net that is designed to catch you and decelerate you before you hit the ground. That's that. Anybody have any questions?